Good day, class. I thought I'd give a sort of a brief lecture here. Week 7, dealing with the week of June 26th through the week of July 3rd, basically. Remember that essay 4, the persuasive / argumentative, depending on which way you're going to go with that, analyzing a issue or analyzing the argument prompt, right? Which one you choose. If you review the video or the lecture that I did for weeks 5 through 6, it'll give you a little bit more info about how to approach that essay. And I did that video or that lecture last week or so, and it's been up there for going on about 2 weeks now. So if you looked at that, you can kind of review that a little bit more too. Obviously, if you got a rough draft for essay 4, if you can, submit it or send it via email as a Microsoft Word document attachment, I would say, roughly by, midnight Friday, this Friday, I should be able to get it back to you before it's due on Sunday. The Dropbox is there in case you're planning on going out of town for the 4th of July or whatever the case may be. You can always, submit it in earlier if you need to. The purpose of today's lecture is to sort of show you what I've done with the Blackboard page, to talk a little bit more about essay 5 coming up, which is basically the big project. It's the research paper, and it has a couple components to it. It has a research paper proposal, which we'll probably talk about as well today, because that's what's going to be due when we come back, basically, from our summer break, which will be that particular assignment will be due on Sunday, July 17th. And if you look here, you can see that quiz 5 is actually going to be due first. That's going to happen Monday, or needs to be turned in Monday, July 11th. So that's the day, basically, the college resumes business from summer break. If you noticed what I did to make it kind of easier, I think it's easier for me, is that instead of giving you one big folder that deals with weeks 7 through 10, sort of broke them up individual, because the research project / paper is, it can be kind of overwhelming, especially if you're big on procrastination. I wouldn't wait. You really can't wait until the last minute to be successful or to do really well on this particular assignment, because you do have the proposal, you do have the annotated bibs, which comes before the actual final draft of the research paper. But if you're looking in terms of what's left, well, we have essay 4 that's due this Sunday. We have the research paper, we have the proposal, we have the annotated bib, we have 2 quizzes, quiz 5 and 6, and then we have our final exam, which is just going to be a self-reflection part 2, basically. So we got about 6 or 7 assignments really left. And, when we come back from summer break, you're basically going to have about 21 days left in the semester. So we have to get all of that done basically in about 3 weeks. That's why I say, if you look at the page here, there is a summer break announcement. Technically, the college summer break goes from the 4th of July to the 8th, which is basically that Monday through Friday deal. But I know, technically, I mean, if you really want to look at it, your summer break will start whenever you turn in your essay 4 and last really until Sunday, July 10th, because there's really nothing due on that, July 10th. What's going to be due is going to be quiz 5, which is going to be the, July 11th. So I'll push that to the Monday. So you don't have to worry about, having something due coming off of that summer break on that Sunday. But what I strongly suggest, and again, we're all adults here, you can kind of make up your own decision on, what would work best for you as it relates to, the last 3 assignments here, basically, major assignments, is that unless you're just going off for a whole, 9 or 10 days and you don't want to do anything for any class, then just realize when you come back, the heat's going to be on because there's going to be something due basically each, really each week until we end our semester. August 1st is our last day. That's going to be when the final exam essay is going to be due. So what I would, again, this is up to you. I would try to work as much as I could, maybe before July 4th on the actual research aspect of the course, and then kind of decide how much you want to work over the break. If you want to do a little bit each day, that would probably be wise, honestly. I mean, I realize some of us have kids, we want to go out of town, go to the beach, have the barbecue, whatever the case may be. I'm not necessarily saying you have to, dedicate your entire break or time off to this thing, but I don't want to get you in that frame of mind when you come back and you see that, we had the proposal due, we had the annotated bib due, we had the research paper due, we have 2 quizzes, we have the final exam. And if you get other classes going on, I mean, that's going to be a whole lot to do in 21 days. So I don't want you to have your blood pressure, increase any more than it already is. Certain areas, the COVID is starting to come back and people are getting, having the quarantine and that type stuff. Doesn't really have so much bearing on online course, because if you have COVID but you're still able to perform and function and you're not in the hospital, then you can still sort of do the work. But you just don't want to get your system to have a low immune system. You don't want to be stressed out when you come back. You want to be able to work in a realistically a easier pace, I would say. So that's why I would, recommend that if you're not going anywhere and you have a little bit of time to do a little bit, each day on the actual research paper, the proposal, and the annotated bib, because it would just be, your grade will probably appreciate you for it, and your overall health and sanity probably will appreciate you for it as well. So what I did in these other folders, I know I had the week 7 and the week 8 folder sort of open together to give you a chance to sort of work ahead if you need to work ahead over the summer break. Week 9, week 10, and the final exam are all open at a certain time as we get later into July. I don't want to, open up all the folders all at once here because I don't want to have to add more pressure to you. So at this point, I'm just going to keep week 7 and week 8 open. Clearly, if you don't want to work ahead, you can wait until, it gets closer to week 8 to really start thinking about week 8 stuff. But if we look at week 7, and that's really where we're going to focus. My lecture for weeks 5 and 6 is right here. You can see that, review that again if you haven't. I give you sort of a timer, a countdown to when essay 4 is due, which again, you have a little bit of time. Not a whole lot, but you do have a little bit. Here's where you can find the 2 prompts. We talked a little bit about this in that video. You just download that. It's a Microsoft Word file. You open it up, you read the instructions and the 2 prompts. This is the Dropbox. It's just like any other Dropbox. You click on it, and then you click the plagiarism tool, and then you browse your file to upload it as a Microsoft Word document. Those are the better document files because I can download them, read them, comment on them. If you do anything else, I can't guarantee I can download it, read it, comment, that type deal. PDFs I can read, but it's really hard for me to comment on them after I download them. So basically, the only thing I can do is sort of read it and give it a grade. This will help you. This is another handout or hyperlink. Talks a little bit more about the elements of a persuasive and argument papers. This would be, helpful for not only essay 4, but it would be also helpful for the research paper essay 5, moving ahead into the month of July. So that's something you might want to sort of save or print out and keep. And as you can tell here, quiz 5, again, it's password driven. There's a password here. Quiz 5 is going to sort of end the grammar aspect of the course because our last quiz, quiz 6, is going to deal with MLA 9 documentation, parenthetical, in-text citation, paraphrasing, summarizing, works cited stuff. I will give you a study guide as we get, into the month of July that will help you prepare for that. I will drop, again, your lowest quiz grade. If you already made 1-0 on a quiz at some point, that is your lowest quiz grade. So I probably went ahead and dropped that one for you right now. So if you see a little bit of an edge or a bump in your grade, that's probably it. If you haven't made a 0 on, one of your quizzes yet, I haven't dropped a quiz for you yet, but if you have something in mind, because we've basically had 4 quizzes at this point. If you want me to drop one of the 4, just email me and let me know which one. If you want to wait until quiz 5 or until after you finish the last one, quiz 6, to tell me which one, that would work as well. I'm going to need to know by August 1st. So if you don't tell me, I'm just going to go and randomly see which one is your lowest and drop it if you haven't let me know, or if I haven't dropped a quiz for you already. So the first thing we probably need to look at, as you can tell, Essay 5, the research paper, is basically due in about a month's time. If you look, today is the 28th of June. So this thing is going to be due on the July 28th, which is basically 4 weeks from today. So you do have a good month to work on this. So use time wisely. Like I said, if you do a little bit each day, it will help with the whole deal with procrastinating and waiting till the last minute to do a lot of this stuff. So if you do a little bit each day, you should be in the right frame of mind when it comes to this. So let's look at the actual topics first, and then I will discuss what the proposal is as it relates to the actual research paper. Because what's going to happen is, and I'm going to have to let me pull this up. Here we go. So this is your argumentative research paper. And again, you need to follow the MLA 9 format, double space, times New Roman 12. The length of this particular paper needs to be either 1,500 words or 6 pages, plus a works cited page. So if you go a full 6 pages, your works cited page would be page 7. And I will, as we go through this throughout the month of July, I'll give you, examples of Model A research papers that you can look at. We're going to talk about some of the works cited generators that will help you create that last page. The Annotated Bib assignment will sort of help you create that last page that we'll talk about in the middle of July as well. But what you're going to have to do, because key word here is research, and it's an argumentative research paper, so you're going to have to argue something as it relates to one of these 10 topics. So as it relates to the sources that you're going to need, because it's 6 pages, you're going to need at least 6 sources. These have to be in academic and scholarly in nature. So you need to have 2 scholarly websites, 2 scholarly books. That could be either, in print or ebooks, and 2 scholarly journal articles, which again could be in print or e-journals. If you look at the video that will be up, I think it's maybe in the week 8 folder, there's a library video orientation about Galileo. It will show you how to go about using Galileo and some of the various databases of how to find research as it relates to books and journal articles at the college library. So you probably want to look at that if you're not familiar with how to use Galileo to search for research such as books and journal articles and databases before you really get started collecting the research. Now, as it relates to the websites, be careful of the websites you use to gather information on your particular topic, because not every website out there that has information on your topic is going to be academic, scholarly, and credible in nature. You want to probably stay with .edu, .gov, and .org, ORG sites. Those are a little bit more reputable. Um, they're a little bit more, there's going to be some sort of expert, there's going to be some peer reviewing going on, because you want to find, especially when you're using Galileo and some of the databases that the library offers, the books and the scholarly journal articles, you want to be, full text and peer reviewed. That means experts have sort of looked at them and sort of gave them the green light and say, hey, this is worthy to be published and to be used as academic and scholarly research. Be wary about sites like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is really good to get a basic understanding of your topic. But the thing about Wikipedia, and we'll probably talk about that on a later video, is you can't really verify or trust that everything that's on a Wikipedia page is 100% accurate, because there's so many people that can come on there and edit and delete and add. The good thing about Wikipedia, though, is if the page is well written, you should be able to scroll down to what is basically their references or their works cited page. And a lot of times, those particular citations or sources have come from a library or somewhere of academic or scholarly in nature. So if they give you a hyperlink or a PDF or something that you can click on or download, you can always maybe piggyback off of that research. But as it relates to an actual wiki or Wikipedia page, you probably don't want to use the verbiage, the language that you see on there as credible sources. So if you look, here are 10 topics. You can choose one of these, right? How do you feel about cancel culture? I'm sure, within the last 5 or 10 years, there's been some information out there you can find. What weaknesses and strengths about our world are being exposed by this pandemic? Again, referring back to COVID, we're still living, 3 years out. We still have folks that are having a quarantine and still having COVID. How should parents teach their children about race and racism? Again, that's probably a pretty good topic as it relates to finding a good bit of information on, because it's something that's been current in the news. A lot of folks have been, publishing books and writing journal articles on it the last 5 or 10 years. Number 4, is it offensive for sports teams and their fans to use Native American names, imagery, and gestures? 4, what are your thoughts on snow plow parents? Of course, you may need to look up that and see what a definition of snow plow parents is, to really get a general understanding of what you're being asked to do there. Should law enforcement be able to use DNA data from genealogy websites for criminal investigations? Number 7, should the U.S. get rid of the Electoral College? Number 8, how do you decide what news to believe, what to question, and what to dismiss? Our 9th topic here, how big of a problem is sexting? And then, of course, our final topic, are there topics that should be off limits to comedy? There is sort of a pseudo 11th topic that's not necessarily on here, and that's basically a writer's choice. And really with that, if you don't like the 10 I have up here, but you have one that you can definitely do some research in an argumentative fashion, then you need to email me and let me know what you plan on doing before you get started. And the reason why I need to know what you're planning on doing is, 1, I need to know what the topic is, and if you're going to have, if you can truly find the 6 scholarly sources you're going to need to be successful on the paper. And 2, will it yield the 6 pages or 1,500 word requirement that you need? So again, some of y'all, when it comes to the page length or the word requirement, are falling a little bit short, especially with the first 3 essays. So this one, when I say 6 pages, I really mean 6 pages. Or, if you get 1,500 words before 6 pages and you feel like you covered everything, then you can stop. But if you get to, page 5 and you have 1,300 words, then you need to go to page 6 to be able to make up that, that extra 200 words there. So you're gonna have to choose a research paper topic to be able to really understand the first part of the research paper, of its components, which would be the proposal. So if you look here, this is your proposal. This should be probably one of the easier assignments that you do in this class the whole semester. Because again, yes, you need to still follow the MLA 9 double space format, times New Roman 12. The length of this one needs to either be 2 pages or 500 words, whatever comes first. So again, 2 pages, 500 words, no more, no less. So after picking one of those 10 topics from the essay 5 sheet, you're going to have to answer these 4 questions. And if you looked at number 3, it has a couple parts to it. But basically, each one of these questions is, about 25 points apiece, if you look at it that way. So this is going to be due on Sunday, the 17th of July. So to give you enough time, because if you look again today's the 28th, the 17th, right? We go the rest of this week, the rest of the next. So 1, 2, 3. So you have about 3.5 weeks really to pick an essay 5 topic and be able to answer these questions. Now I give you a model example of a previous student who made an A on this particular assignment in the spring. So you're going to have the same, right? The header, you need to have the last name and the page number, of course. On this particular document doesn't have that because it's part of the assignment, but you get the gist, you get what I need to have. You need to have a research paper proposal as your title. First part is you need to give me a tentative paper title for your research paper. As you can tell here, looking at the guidance, the suggestion box pretty much tells you the answer to question 1 is in this paragraph. So this would be your answer to question 1. The answer to question 2 is in this paragraph. The answer in question 3 above is in this paragraph. And then our final question, question 4, is in this paragraph. So does yours need to necessarily be this lengthy as it relates to paragraphs? No. What I would suggest is you answer these questions to the best of your ability, because you're going to have 3.5 weeks. You can really think about these and give me some solid answers. Don't just give me one-word answers. You're probably going to have to extend or expand on some of your answers. So you probably want to, give me a good paragraph length for each one, as much as you can. Anywhere from 3 to 5 sentences for each one of those questions would probably be suffice. This one was a little bit longer because the student had more to say. So, and they were a little bit more passionate on their topic because they chose a topic that they really know something about and want to write about and want to learn about. So that's sort of the other key too. That's why I give you a topic choice, those 10 topic choices, and then also give you that opportunity. If you don't like my 10 choices, you can come up with your own, as long as you can, build around an argument and make it into a research paper using 6 sources that will support your argument. After you submit the proposal on the 17th, your next part of the research paper is going to deal with the annotated bib. This is really where your sources come into play. This is going to be due on the 24th of July, which is also a Sunday. And I would hope by the time we get to the middle of July, roughly I would say July 15th, honestly, you should have, which is a Friday, you should have all 6 of your scholarly sources done by, collected, read through, your highlighting passages and, particular quotations you want to use, that type deal. You should have all 6 scholarly sources before or by July 15th, because the annotated bib, you go from sort of the easiest assignment to do, which is a proposal, to one of the more difficult, or I would say really, it's not that it's more difficult, that it's more sort of time consuming, and it can be frustrating if you don't have all your sources and you haven't read them really well. So to sort of space this or back this out, your annotated bib is basically you evaluating your 6 sources, and you evaluated those 6 sources by asking these 4 questions to each one of those 6 sources. Here, you're probably going to have anywhere from a sentence to 2 sentences per question. You're asking the same question to each one of your 6 sources. So if you haven't really read your 6 sources, it's going to be hard to come up with just a BS answer. Because really this is the part that I need to be able to read and say, hey, this person has actually taken the last 3.5 weeks, this assignment really seriously, went to the library, used Galileo, checked out books, observed stuff online, printed out journal articles, really read and started highlighting stuff that they want to use to develop this really strong research paper. So you answer these 4 questions and your answers become your paragraphs. And again, as it gets closer to the due date of this, I will go over this a little bit more and show you how to go about doing it. But again, if you look here, I give you guidance. I pretty much tell you what you need to sort of do as it relates to getting a really good grade on this thing. This is another student that made a 90 or higher, so they made an A on this particular annotated bib. I will talk a little bit more about some of these works cited generators that will help you, because really there's 2 parts to an annotated bib. There's the actual citation, which always comes first, and then there's the annotated paragraph that comes second, or comes after your citation. So it always has to be citation, then paragraph, citation, then paragraph. And then you need to put it in a particular order. And MLA likes alphabetical order by author's last name. So you want to make sure that you know your ABCs to put your citations in order that way. If you have trouble with the ABC deal, if you use a works cited generator and you use it for all 6 of your sources sort of in one shot, it will take the guesswork out for you and put everything in alphabetical order by the author's last name that way. But as you can tell, this is going to be a little bit more of a lengthy deal. Your paragraphs will probably vary in size and length. That's fine. This person again had a little bit more to say because they really enjoy their topic. But if you look, this is basically about a 1,100 word document, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's about 3.5 pages. Granted, that's probably how long yours is going to be. You know, anywhere from 3 to 4 pages, especially once you have all 6 of your sources and you can answer those 4 questions as you look here. Now, keep in mind, these 4 questions are different than the 4 questions on the proposal. So just keep that in mind. You're not redoing a proposal here with the annotated bib. The other thing is your annotated bib is not your research paper. Your annotated bib is a place where you're showing by evaluating your sources. It's a collection of sources. So you're not basically, oh, I can just, you know, copy and paste a little bit of this and call it my research paper. No, the research paper is a whole another thing that you have to come up scratch from based on your topic that you mentioned in your proposal, and then you're using your 6 sources that you mentioned here in your annotated bib throughout your 6-page research paper. So again, once you look at some of those model examples of research papers, that should be able to clarify, I hope, a lot as it relates to that. Some of y'all have probably written research papers at some point in your life, I hope. Be careful with plagiarism. Don't do it. When in doubt, you know, always ask. You can email me your paper and say, hey, I'm having a problem citing this particular source or quoting. Let me know. I can help before things are turned in and I'm, you know, basically sitting there grading them. If you get caught plagiarizing the first time, it's a 0 on the assignment, and this is a big chunk of your assignment. I think it's nearly 20 or 25% of your grade. So if you get a 0 on this, depending on where your grade is at, it will pretty much either guarantee you a D or an F in a course at that point. So you don't want to get, you don't want to get a really bad grade on this thing. You don't want to get caught plagiarizing. Plagiarizing is a lot of things. It's simply copying and pasting other people's words, quotes, without giving them proper credit. It's borrowing somebody else's paper from another college, from another school, from another classmate, whether it's this year, last year, whatever the case may be. It's not your paper, so you're basically cheating that way. Using, paper mill sites, Fiverr, that type deal, where you can go and pay somebody to basically contract cheat for you, is not good as well. That's why everything that you turn in essay-wise goes through this. There's a couple plagiarism checkers that we use. Turn it in as one and Safest on. So pretty much by using both of those, I mean, they're like 99.9% accurate of finding stuff. If it's out there and you copied and pasted, it's going to flag it, it's going to find it. You're going to know, I'm going to know, and anybody else that needs to know will know that as well. So the best advice when it comes to cheating and plagiarizing as it relates to this class, just don't do it. It's not worth it, especially if you came this far, have a really strong grade. Just finish out the class. It's better, if it comes down to it, it's better to take a 75 than to take a 0. Because at least with a 75, you still have that chance of passing. May not be with an A, it could be with a high C, but you're still passing. So just be smart with that. If by chance you do get caught and you do receive that 0 for the first offense, if you do it again, hopefully most folks will realize not to do it, because usually that first 0 will drop you down about 20 points. But if you're foolish enough to do it again, you're basically, at that point, you're going to fail the course. No matter what your grade is, you're just going to get an F, and you're going to have to go before a panel, basically the powers that be here, vice president, president, that type deal. And they're going to really decide your fate, whether they suspend you for a couple semesters, a couple years, or just outright just kick you out for good. And if you get to that point, they usually, especially if you're taking multiple courses, they're going to put the microscope on you and they're going to check to see, okay, this person has a 89 in math. Are they cheating in that class too? Let's see. Let's take a look. Let's get a little bit deeper. So they get really, at that point, they're going to get really up and close and personal in your stuff. And if they do find that you're cheating in other classes, it's not going to be good on that end as well. So hopefully I won't have that situation. Nobody likes to have that conversation of, hey, you plagiarized the paper. That's why your grade went from a 92 to, a 64 or whatever the case may be. Because we just don't have any time to go back and redo, make up, that type deal. And for the most part, July is going to be that month. Deadlines are going to be pretty much final, and you're going to have to sort of follow them. If something is due on a Sunday, it really needs to be due on a Sunday, not on a Wednesday. So I'm not going to really accept late work or make up work, after July 1st, just because we have only a month left of the semester. I have other classes that, are having 5-week semesters that I'm going to have to grade stuff on relatively quickly. That first week of August as well. So I just don't have time to go hunt down and babysit folks who can't follow deadlines or read assignment sheets or watch videos and that type of deal. So you either get it in and not worry about taking a 0. If you're late, whether it's 5 minutes late or 5 days late, it's going to be a 0. So just keep that in mind starting July 1st. Which brings to mind, there was a midterm event, which was Essay 3. It was basically due last week, which was your Proctor U. Well, actually, it was due 2 weeks ago. It was your Proctor U event. That, anytime that you're taking an online course, whether it's English, math, history, whatever the case may be, nursing, you're going to have to do a Proctor U event at some point. Some instructors do the final exam as a proctor U, some instructors do the midterm, and then some instructors just randomly pick something to do that's proctor U related. Ours was, basically from June 12th up until 6 p.m. on Thursday, June 16th. A good bit of you turned that in. I've already received the grade, and I appreciate that. But there were 4 of you, and I'm not going to mention names because you know who you are, that just didn't take it at all. So everybody had 5 days to take that. Everybody knew, weeks ahead of time, that you were going to have the Proctor U event. I sent out emails and handouts. There was stuff on your syllabus about how to download the app and get set up. I sent out the Self-Reflection 1 essay topics weeks ahead of time that you can prepare. I gave a video on it, a week or so before the actual event. So the reality is everybody knew when this thing was going to happen. Those 4 that didn't take it, that 0 has basically hurt your grade really, really bad. You went from passing to failing at this point. So I sent out a previous email, I think it was last week, saying that even though usually because it's a Proctor U event, you can't just go back to Proctor U because the college pays for each one of those tests. But if you were willing to travel to the campus in Camden County, could meet you in the library, I could meet you in a classroom, and I would sort of proctor or let you set up and do the Proctor U in person so you can, improve your grade, have something better than a 0 in that slot. I'm available basically anytime from 1 to 6, Wednesday or Thursday this week, which would be June 29th and June 30th. If you get this or you watch this video, I'm basically here on June 28th, which is a Tuesday, 1 to 6 as well. You just have to email me or call me, set up an appointment and say, hey, I want to be there at 3 o'clock. You want to make sure that you bring your student ID or a driver's license. Bring yourself. You can bring an outline for Essay 3. But basically, you're going to need 60 minutes and only 60 minutes to type a 2-page paper. So today, Wednesday and Thursday is the only day I'm going to allow this to be made up. Generally, I don't allow this to be made up, but since I want to try to do, I want to help you help yourself and hopefully bring your grade up. That's the reason why I'm giving you, this week to sort of make that up, because I'm going to go on break. I'm going to spend time with my family next week. I will, periodically check emails. But when we come back on June 11th, it's all about the last 3 weeks, the research paper, the annotated bibs, that type stuff. So if you want to do that because you have a 0 on Essay 3, then you really need to let me know before 6 o'clock on June 3rd or 30th, June 30th. Otherwise, I'm not going to let you. You're not going to have time. You're not going to have a chance to make this up after the break, because we just have so much stuff to do. And, I basically now, I've gave you last week to sort of set up a time. I'm giving you this week to come and take it. If you don't take it, then that's on you. I have been, I've received an email from a student in the class talking about extra credit. I'm still deciding on that. Generally in the past, when I offered extra credit, the folks that did the extra credit were the students that didn't really need it because they already had high B's and high A's. The folks that would have benefited from it, the people that had the C's, the D's, and the F's, they never did it. And so it just seemed like it was kind of frustrating to offer extra credit every semester if the students who were doing it were the ones that didn't really need it because their grade was already pretty good anyway. So I will see about the extra credits, dropping one of those lowest quiz grades sort of acts as extra credit to begin with. Extra credit just provides a lot of extra paperwork sometimes, especially, I mean, if you have let's say you have a 96, you do the extra credit, it may only bump you up to a 98, where it's going to help people if you had like a 68, it may bump you up to a 71, you go from a D to a C at that point. But again, I will have to see about that. If I do something extra credit wise, it will be, something due sort of in the middle of July. And it would have to relate to MLA documentation, orientation of the library, that type stuff. But I'll let you know if maybe that'll give me something to think about on the break. Maybe give a one extra credit assignment to see how it goes. But again, there's not a whole lot of extra credit in this class just because we're only 10 weeks. And if you look at it in life, there's no such thing as extra credit. You only have one life. It's not like we're playing Super Mario Brothers and you have 3 lives or whatever the case may be. We're not cats. We don't have 9 lives. You only have really one chance to do really well in a 10-week or a 15-week course. And at the college level, there's not too many classes that offer grown adults extra credit anyway. So that's still, a little bit back in the public school, high school, middle school type realm. Most college classes don't have the extra credit. You either do well the first time around or you just have to sort of eat the grade and move on, and hopefully you do better on the remaining assignments. Okay, I think I've said enough. I think if you look at the week 7 and the week 8 folders and read the material, and if you have any questions, you email me. I will respond back as quickly as I can. If you want to come for a tutoring session, one-on-one, we can do something via Teams, Blackboard Collaborate. If you don't want to spend the gas money to get here, if you live locally and you want to just meet in, office, library, the classroom, just email me so we can set up a time. And like I said, generally any time between 1 and 6, Monday through Thursday, I'm free. I mean, I'm preparing, I'm grading papers, that type deal. But if you want to meet in person for one-on-one for anything, to get clarification on something, by all means, schedule an appointment. I'd be happy to meet with you and work with you. Otherwise, if I don't hear from anybody for the rest of the week, have a great week 7. Have a great, wonderful, safe 4th of July week, summer break. And I look forward to seeing everybody, if I don't see anybody between now and the time we go on break, to talk to everybody during week 8 on July 11th. Have a good one. Be safe and good luck.